here with Miguel McKelvey, our keynote speaker for today. Good morning.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You too. Now, tell us about your company, the name of it, and where it's located, or
Yeah,
how
so
it's branched out.
WeWork is located in New York. Our home is there, but we now have about 56 locations in, I think, 16 cities across the world.
So it's called WeWork, and it's a. Can you explain it a little
Yeah,
more?
it's a collection of things, but the fundamental thing is workspace for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups. And we define small business as really anyone who's doing something unique and interesting, and really that they're following their passion for business, doing something that they love to do, and we want to empower them on that journey.
So how have you enjoyed the symposium so far?
It's been great, getting out of the day-to-day and getting exposed to new ideas is always an awesome thing, because I think when you're working hard, when you have a startup and you're nonstop all the time, you don't get many opportunities to shift your thinking and see things from a different perspective.
Right. You're in New York, and you've been in New York for how long?
I've been in New York for about 11 years, and WeWork has been around for 5 years now.
And if you had anything you could change in New York, one thing that you could make better, what would it be?
Well, I think the challenge that we face in New York is that it's gotten incredibly expensive. And so for a lot of creative people, it's hard to live there. They're pushed out to the fringes, and even then it's expensive. And so I think one of the next great challenges is to address housing and opportunities for people to live closer to where they work and to follow their entrepreneurial dreams, but actually in the city, not way out, an hour and 20 minutes away or whatever.
Now, with your New York based one, how many businesses are in there?
So we actually have 19 locations in New York.
Oh, 19.
We have about 8,000 people, I think. So it's quite a few different kinds of businesses of all sizes. So we have people who are just one person with an idea, and we've got companies as large as 100 people who are more established. So it's a really diverse range. The great thing is that it's very diverse in industry, in age, and we actually have, I believe it's something like 44% women in our community, which is really great in a small business environment, uncommon compared to many sort of incubators, which traditionally are focused on tech, for example. So we have great balance and great diversity.
How long do people generally stay there?
There's no program, so they
Okay.
can stay. We have some people have been with us for 5 years from the beginning, and some people who use it as more of a temporary,
Launching pad?
as a launching pad, and then move on to something else. We also have a lot of people who are doing project-based work, so they know that they're doing something specific for 6 months, and so they use it for that time.
So you've made the rates affordable.
Yeah, they're affordable from the standpoint of, definitely from the standpoint of flexibility and from the overall collection of benefits that you get, which go far beyond the workspace. There's many different ways that, we can help your business succeed.
Well, besides your business, do you see any other business that could help business people in urban areas?
So my previous, life was working with a retail business that had a really big rollout. And I saw the effect there of the impact that, retail has on urban areas. And I think there's so many great...
What is that? What effect is that?
Well, so for a lot of cities, what sort of is the symbolic nature or the symbolic element that makes it feel downtrodden is closed storefronts,
Right.
And so a lot of times you see, people feel hopeless because they're walking down the street or driving down the street and everything is closed. And, it's a lot of the people whose dream of small business has to do with the storefront, whether it's a clothing store, a barber shop, a coffee shop, a little, restaurant, whatever it is. But those businesses are really, really hard. Those are
Right.
difficult businesses to run. And so there's usually not the support systems in place to help them run those businesses. So that's not specifically what we do. We're
Right.
more focused on, obviously, businesses that are on the upper floors of the
Right.
building. But we would love to see there be more support for the education, for the support systems that help people people who start those businesses often put their whole life savings on the line.
Yes, they do.
If they fail, that's a major disaster in their life. So, restructuring leasing for spaces like that, for example, like if you have to sign a 5-year lease, you're on the hook in a way that's really challenging. If you have more flexibility in that solution, for example, that would be empowering to someone to start in a
Quick
different
question,
way.
are there any resources for those people who are starting their businesses, say, their startup? Do they have access to resources that can give them information about what they're doing in a business? A lot of people have great ideas, and they have great creativity and could have something that works, but it's about that, not making those mistakes.
So one of the things that we found, and I was the same way when I was a kid, right? Like if someone gave me a model, like of a car, I wanted to like figure out how to build it without reading the instructions. People have a very short span of attention for, say, a guide to starting your business or whatever, in a 100-page document or whatever it might be. So what we found in the environment that we create is really about just a sort of open place for conversation, so that you have the opportunity to ask all those questions when the time comes. Like, you need to find the person who knows about trademarks when you're ready to file your trademark, and you want to get the answer right away. So you want to be able to like walk across the room and ask someone, hey, does anyone know anything about trademarks? And then you find the answer immediately, and then you go take action on that. That's like the way that people actually succeed. If you're like, oh yeah, go to like Trademarks 101 on the web, you're going to go into this spiral of like 100 different answers. You're not going to know which one to choose. You're going to get taken by somebody who's going to try to ask you to pay them for advice on that topic or whatever it might be. So it's really about having just authentic connections to people who are there who want to help you because they want to see you succeed.
Well, lastly, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well,
or would like to?
Yeah, I think, what we would love to do is to be a representative part of a changing culture, which is away from dependency on big organizations, dependency on big companies that we've all seen can easily fall apart and disappear, and more reliance on people's own skill set, their own ability to achieve and succeed, and for much smaller business models that are that don't necessarily get hit by sort of macroeconomic shifts and stuff like that. Because I think if you're doing something that you love to do, and that allows you to weather any storm, emotionally, intellectually, because you're just not a victim to some outside forces. You're actually in control of your destiny. So
that culture change, that's important. Well, I'd like to thank you.
Yeah.
You are so interesting.
Well, thanks for having me.
And thanks for coming to Detroit. I hope you come back.
I'm going to be back a lot, that's for sure.
Oh, great, great.